of a green block with a seam right across the corner. So we're going to start right there, and we're going to go straight across. Now, if you feel like you need it, and a lot of us do, especially as beginners, you can draw a line right across here. I'm going to this corner, and I'm just watching where my seam is and going the rest of the way across. And then before you cut your fabric off, what we're going to do is make sure that that white covers the whole corner. So see how mine covers there? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my scissors, wherever they have walked away to. We'll just use our regular little ones. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to leave myself a 1/4 inch seam. And you can't chain piece these and do them all at the end because I still got to put the 2 blue squares on. And I did not sew a second seam on that because that half square triangle would be way too small for me to be able to use for anything. So that's actually going in the garbage. So there's the first part of our little shamrock block. And then I'm going to go over here, and I don't love pinked edges on things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line that up using the square edge as the guide. I'm going to put that under my needle. And if you have a hard time getting your machine to start and feed across through there, you can use leaders and enders. We're going to fold it over, make sure it covers, come back, and trim. And I don't have a garbage can sitting here. I'm just piling up all my little stuff. And then we're going to do that one more time. Line it up on the square and come from one corner to the other. And you may notice that I'm just a tiny bit off of that center. I'm trying to do it like one thread over from it. It covers it, and when I square it up, it will work fine. Okay, so there's one part. Let me show you a different method to do this so that you have alternatives. You can actually start at one section and sew up. And make sure you get all the way up there. And since I know that I have this one already lined up, I'm going to go ahead and sew it. Make sure I pull that back out of the way though. You don't even actually have to cut that thread. And then we can double check all of our corners to make sure they fold over far enough. And mine do. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim off all of my little corners basically at one time. And you don't actually have to leave a 1/4 inch there. You can leave as much or as little as you like. You could even not trim the corners if you wanted to. So that's number 2 done. I will iron them all in just a minute. Last one. If you're not confident in doing this, that's fine. Use pens, draw your lines. And I always stop, if your machine has the functionality, use your needle down function. Because that way, even if you stop short, you're not out of your seam line. Now we've done pieces. And we're doing the pieces of this. This is a triangle that goes on each side of a stem. Don't pull on your triangle's edge because that edge right there is bias. And what you want to do is just put a 1/4 inch seam down the side. I use the edge of my presser foot as my 1/4 inch seam. You may do the same. And I'm not stretching it, I'm pressing it down. So now we're going to bring this one over here. And we're going to line it up. Now making sure that my points are close together or almost in the same spot. I want to say they are, but you know. Sure as I say they are, someone's going to say, "Nuh-uh. It's my block." So you can do yours however you like. I'm doing mine this way. I need to look at my pattern real quick to make sure I'm doing and you can see it didn't line up perfectly. I'm pretty much okay with that. And then I'm going to sew corner to corner. It does fold down and cover it. We're going to cut. Okay. Let me iron these blocks real quick. I'm going to do just a tiny bit of squaring up, and then we'll be back to put it together. Okay, so I've got everything squared up. Let me show you my quanta blocks. Making sure I'm putting everybody in there right. All right, now we're going to sew together 2 rows of 2. Still using that same 1/4 inch seam. Actually, I think I'm using closer to 1/8 of an inch there. I've got my needle moved over for some reason. I have to figure out what I did there. All right, and now we're going to open them up. And I'm going to open them up different directions so that I can nest that center set of seams. And I'm also double checking to make sure I've got everything where it's supposed to be before I go any further. Once again, you can pin or clip as your little heart desires. I'm going to use my fingers here. And then after I get past that center, I'm going over here. And yes, Colleen, I heard you going, you're too close to the needle. I put a needle through my finger a couple of years ago. Right after my friend told me, oh, you're sewing too close to the needle. You're going to put the needle through your finger. And then I did it like a couple days later. All right, so there's our shamrock. I'm going to give it a little heat. Just real quick. Just so everybody lays down nice and pretty. And then our next step is to sew our border pieces on this block. So and I'm having a good hand day today, which is the only reason I can sew without my gloves on. I'll take it. We're going to finger press that back. And this isn't a bias edge, it's just a good idea to make sure that you have everything flat as you can. For really good piecing, you should iron it after every single seam. Ain't nobody got time for that. Actually, if I'm doing a lot of complicated piecing on something, I will most of the time. Press it back. Seeing it come together? Here's the next piece. I'm not giving you measurements because this pattern isn't mine. It's free, but it's not mine. So I think I should instead encourage you to go to Pat Sloan's website and pick up the pattern. I will put the link for that in the description box. Trying to trim all of my threads as I go. And then here is the last piece of this block. And then I'll iron it and show you guys the whole thing complete. 3 more and decide on some sashing for a table runner. If you like this, please give me a like. And if you want to see more content like this, give me a subscribe. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.